Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Dust or Bust. While we're waiting on some engine parts machining, wanted to jump back and do some work on the steering column. So we pulled this out, too long ago, and now we'll hopefully get it cleaned up, put back in the car. So, couple things. So today I think the goal is to just strip it down and start cleaning it up. I'm gonna have to order a few parts, and then we'll come back in a few days and put it all together. So come on in here, let's take a look. All right, so originally, and this thing's pretty busted up, so this is due for some cleanup, but there's a little cap on here. Unfortunately I lost the cap, but that pops right off. Then you got 3 screws holding this part on, that comes off, and thankfully I loosened this nut when it was still in the car attached to stuff. Otherwise, if you just have it on the table like this, probably going to be a little difficult to hold everything. But that'll come off, and now gotta have a puller. So I did try to get this off without a puller, was unsuccessful. So I have a puller now. We're gonna pull that off in a second. All right, so as you can see, pretty cracked up here on the wheel. So the wheel itself needs to be replaced. Going down the line, this assembly should be fine. We're just gonna clean it up. I did wanna keep the original ignition, original wiring, the hazards. To me it was just easiest, the turn signal, rather than buy a new steering column. 1, the money of it, and then 2, all of this being integrated and the wiring just seemed like the way to go. So we're keeping that. Going down the shaft, I want to pull this all apart and just inspect it all, give it a good clean up. So this is all just going to get ripped apart, but I'm hoping we can reuse all of this. And then once we get down to the bottom here, this pin here is super. So the rag joint, that took me some time to actually figure out how to take apart, so that was on there. The rag joint is a bit tricky, so here's all the parts from inside of it. And it's a little tricky because this was so dirty I couldn't even see it really well, but there's a little pin that holds the retainer on. The retainer holds these, I don't even know what to call them. That pin is press fit in place, so we either need to heat it or press it out. It's pretty solid in there, so I'm thinking we may not mess with that unless we have to. So that's the plan today. Rip everything apart, clean it, inspect it, order what parts we need to, and then we'll come back and we'll make it pretty and put it on the car. So that's it. Let's get to work. All right, so that was pretty short-lived. My puller set actually is not compatible with this. The reason being is I can't get close enough with my bolts here versus the pushing point. So that sucks. Looks like we got to make something. So thankfully I have some extra steel upstairs. What I'm thinking I can do is just make a little rectangular plate and punch 2 holes in it that are the correct spacing here, and just let the plate, you know, push on this in the middle, and hopefully when I tighten that down it'll pop off. So I'm gonna take a few minutes and make a little plate, and hopefully this will work. All right, simple enough. Here's our simple little bracket, a little 1/4 inch piece of bar that I had. So let's try that out, see if it works. All right, so I pretty much have this thing entirely apart, but I'm gonna have to remove this pin. I fought with it for way too long yesterday, and yeah, it sucked. But I found on B-Bodies Only, I found a post where somebody mentioned a good way to do this, so we're gonna try that. So I was already heating it and trying to knock it out, but I hammered it. Shouldn't hammer it because then you mushroom it a little bit, and then it's a mess. I ended up having to come in and knock the mushroom off of this side, but I still could not knock it in any further. So what we're gonna do is using the vise with, and it's really difficult because you have, you know, a round surface on a round surface and you just can't grab things well. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a socket on here. It's gonna give us a nice flat on that side. I'm gonna use a bolt on this side pushing on it, and we're gonna try to just put it in the vise. We're gonna heat it up and see if we can push it through. So that's the plan. Let's see if it works. Woohoo! Finally got this thing. Really happy because honestly I haven't had too many times where I used this press, so it was nice to get some use out of the press. I guess the main problem why I didn't do this in the first place was trying to get it stable is really difficult. So relatively short bolt that is a good grade bolt because I bent a few other crappier bolts. So better grade bolt with, you know, flat head here, and using a socket, that was really a game changer. You know, reading that post about using a socket, because then also you get a flat with, you know, somewhere for you to press it into. But we got it. So psyched about that. Okay, so home stretch, it should come apart now. We got that pin out. That was the hardest part. Now let's start pulling this stuff out. This bearing here, totally shot. This cap loosened up earlier, you know, position there. And here we go. Ooh. All right, now I don't think I need to take this part off. If I did, I'd probably throw it in the press and knock it down, but I don't think that there's a reason for me to take it off, so I'm not going to. I am just gonna clean up the bottom side of this. All right. Okay. Alright, that assembly just lifted right out. That I'm for sure not messing with. And, oh, here it is. Now that that's off, I can see that pin. And let me push on this. And she is out. Hell yeah. Alright, now it's easy to clean and paint. That's it. Fully disassembled. Pain in the butt. but I think I'm glad we got that done. So let's do a quick covering of where I think we need to go with everything. So we'll just go left to right on the table here. So the whole steering wheel assembly, I believe all of this gets replaced with the new wheel that I have. So that I'm going to keep it for now, but eventually that's just going to be junk. This should be fine, but I'll put the key in it and test it. Just got to do a little paint. This was around the hazard light, but we're going to keep the hazard light that is, fits into this section. All right, this bearing here has a little bit of a hang up. I'm going to see if I can find a replacement bearing for that. If not, I may just have to try to flush it and repack it. This should all be fine. Just need a good, blasting, painting, whatever. Good. Retainer's good. Here, my knob, I really like the original knob. They sell replacement knobs, like nice fancy billet knobs, but I like this one. I just need to see if I can take all that tarnish off of it, and I think we'll be good. All right, hardware is for the most part good, except this nut that goes on the very top. It's a little dinged up, and I saw that they have these for a couple bucks, so I may go ahead and replace that just to maybe save myself a headache somewhere down the line. Again, just blasting, clean up, be fine. Same, just needs a good solid clean up and paint. All my electrical I think is gonna be okay, but I should probably go through and actually do some conductivity checks, maybe see if I can test it out. That would probably be the wise thing to do. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I found a kit on Classic Industries for all of the insulations, so I may pick that up. It looked like it was pretty cheap on Classic Industries, so I need to replace this. This looks terrible. This seal is busted up, so I'm going to order one of those. The hardest part was, this assembly, this coupling. I don't know if they have a rebuild kit for about 15 bucks, and then they have, the fancier U-joint style for like 75. I don't know. My worry with the U-joint is getting one that's the exact lengths, dimensions, and everything. I like that style more, but there's a few things that I'm worried about. The easiest thing would probably be, and easiest and cheapest would be to just get the rebuild kit for this and just clean it up. Not sure yet. This is fine. This is fine. This just needs a good cleanup. We should be okay. This bearing is totally shot. I need to see if I can find a new one for that. And all fine. Lastly, they also sell these, but this one's pretty good. I'm thinking if I can find a little epoxy or something, fill that crack, sand it down. I think this will be just fine. Maybe replace my screws. All right, so that's it. Hopefully somebody finds this useful. It's a bit of work, but it should be relatively cheap in replacement parts to get all of this back together. And I'm going to order everything, and then in about a week or so, hopefully we'll put this together. So give me a like, subscribe if you found this useful, and take care, folks. We'll see you all next week.